The bright lights of the Kelly Clarkson show shimmered like 1,000 tiny suns across the set, reflecting off the cheerful yellow backdrop and the polished glass table between the two women. The audience was already buzzing, eager to see Leanne Morgan, the Southern comedy queen known for her no-filter humor and homegrown charm. Kelly Clarkson greeted her guest with that signature mix of warmth and enthusiasm that had made her show so beloved. "Y'all, please welcome the hilarious, one-of-a-kind Leanne Morgan," she announced, her voice ringing with excitement. Leanne walked out to thunderous applause, wearing a soft pink blazer and that mischievous grin fans loved. She waved, blew a kiss to the crowd, and hugged Kelly before settling into her seat. "Oh, Kelly, I'm so tickled to be here," she said in her rich Tennessee drawl. The audience cheered again. For a moment, it felt like smooth sailing, laughter, light chatter, and two women with Southern roots connecting naturally. But that warmth would soon flicker into something much sharper. Kelly, shuffling through her cue cards, leaned forward. "Leanne, I saw one of your recent interviews where you talked about how comedy's changing, that it's harder to make people laugh now without getting someone mad. What did you mean by that?" Leanne chuckled, clasping her hands in her lap. "Well, honey, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I remember when folks came to comedy shows to laugh, not to fact-check or get offended. These days, I'll say something about race and teenagers or about marriage, and somebody will say, 'That's problematic.'" She widened her eyes dramatically, making the audience laugh. "Problematic? My husband's been problematic for 40 years, but I still feed him supper every night." The laughter rolled across the studio, but Kelly's smile was a little tighter now. "But don't you think maybe people are just more aware these days? Like, we're learning how certain jokes can hurt folks who didn't have a voice before." Leanne nodded slowly, tapping her manicured nails on the armrest. "I understand that, sugar. I truly do. I don't want to hurt nobody. But comedy's always been about truth, sometimes messy truth. If we start acting like every joke's a landmine, then what's left to laugh about?" A few people clapped, others exchanged glances. Kelly leaned in, her tone gentle but firm. "I just think it's about adapting, you know. Comedy evolves with time." That's when Leanne's posture changed. She sat up straighter, her face losing its easy smile. "Adaptin' is fine, Kelly. But when adaptin' starts looking like censorin', then we're in trouble. I see comics now afraid to say anything real. They're all thinking, will this offend somebody? Will this ruin me? You can't be funny if you're terrified." The room's energy shifted. The laughter died down, replaced by an uneasy quiet. Kelly's brow furrowed slightly. "But don't you think that maybe being considerate of others doesn't mean you're censoring yourself? Maybe it's just empathy." Leanne's eyes flickered, still friendly, but firm. "Empathy's beautiful, darlin', but it ain't the same as walkin' on eggshells. Empathy means understandin' folks, not muzzlin' yourself 'cause you're scared they'll misunderstand you." The audience murmured softly, unsure whether to cheer or stay silent. Kelly tried to bring the mood back up with a laugh. "Well, we could all use a little more kindness, right?" But Leanne wasn't ready to move on. She gestured toward the crowd. "I'll tell y'all what, Kelly, last month in Nashville, I told a joke about my mama's meatloaf, and a woman came up afterward saying I was promoting gender stereotypes." She paused for effect, raising her eyebrows. "Promoting meatloaf? Y'all, if that's offensive now, we're doomed." The audience erupted, laughter spilling out, clapping echoing through the studio. Kelly laughed too, but a touch nervously. "That's a funny story," she said, glancing at her producer off camera. "But I still think people are just trying to find balance. They want to laugh without feeling like someone's the punchline." Leanne sighed, her southern twang sharpening. "I get that, sweetheart. But life is the punchline sometimes. That's what makes comedy real. If we start sanitizing every thought, we'll end up with jokes that don't mean nothing. Just sugar and fluff, no truth." The crowd fell silent again, hanging on her every word. Kelly crossed her legs, clearly aware the interview had drifted into territory much deeper than planned. "So you're saying comedians shouldn't have to worry about being offensive?" Leanne smiled wryly. "I'm saying we can't please everybody. If I tried to make the whole world happy, I'd go crazy. My mama always said, if somebody don't like your casserole, let 'em cook their own supper. That's how I feel about comedy." That line broke the tension for a moment. Laughter rippled again, but there was no denying the undercurrent of conflict that had taken over the stage. Kelly nodded politely, though her tone was careful now. "I think we'll have to agree to disagree on that one." Leanne tilted her head, her voice soft but firm. That's fine, sugar. I didn't come to agree. I came to tell the truth, and sometimes, that's the funniest thing of all. The applause sign flickered to life, but the clapping felt hesitant, divided. As the cameras cut to commercial, Kelly exhaled, forcing a smile while Leanne leaned back, unbothered, her point made, her fire unextinguished. Everyone in the studio knew it. This was no ordinary talk show moment. Something real had just cracked through the stage lights, and it was only going to get louder when they came back from the break. When the cameras came back from commercial, the atmosphere inside the Kelly Clarkson show studio was noticeably different. The music played, the audience clapped as if nothing had happened, but a subtle unease hung in the air. Kelly plastered on her bright, professional smile, but her eyes flicked toward Leanne with cautious warmth. Leanne, on the other hand, sat tall in her chair, hands folded neatly in her lap, a faint smirk on her lips as though she'd just finished round 1 of a good old Southern argument, and was ready for round 2. Welcome back, everyone, Kelly began with practiced cheer. We're here with the hilarious Leanne Morgan, who's on her brand new comedy tour, just getting started. The audience clapped again, this time louder, trying to match Kelly's energy. Now, Leanne, she continued, you've got sold-out shows across the country, congratulations on that. Leanne's grin softened slightly. Thank you, darlin'. I tell ya, I've been so blessed. People have been showing up from all over. Some even drive hours just to come laugh. It reminds me why I started this whole thing. Folks need laughter now more than ever. Kelly nodded, seizing the chance to ease things back to positivity. Exactly. Laughter brings people together. That's what I love about your work. Even when you tackle real stuff, people connect. Leanne smiled but couldn't resist adding, that's 'cause I tell the truth, sugar. I ain't fancy or Hollywood, I'm just saying what half the world's already thinking but too scared to say out loud. Kelly gave a small laugh, half genuine, half wary. And sometimes that truth gets people fired up, she teased. Leanne chuckled, crossing one leg over the other. Oh, honey, you can't cook without a little heat. I'm fine with folks getting fired up, means they're listening. The audience clapped, sensing another charged exchange coming. Kelly's posture straightened, her tone sharpening slightly. But don't you ever feel like maybe that kind of comedy, you know, the unfiltered kind, can alienate people? Like, make them feel attacked instead of included. Leanne's eyebrows shot up, amused. Attacked? Lord, no, I don't make fun of people, I make fun of life. There's a big difference. If I talk about raisin kids, or getting older, or losing my patience in Walmart, that's not attacking anybody. That's calling life what it is, messy and funny. Kelly tried again, her voice steady but pointed. I get that, but you have such a big platform. People listen to you. Don't you think there's some responsibility that comes with that? Leanne exhaled slowly, leaning forward. Responsibility's a funny word, Kelly. Sure, I got one, to be honest with my audience. To tell them the truth, not what's fashionable to say this week. You can't build trust by pretending to agree with everybody. The audience murmured, a mix of approval and tension rippling through the crowd. Kelly's expression hardened slightly. But isn't part of that trust also listening to your audience? If they tell you something you said hurt them, shouldn't that matter too? Leanne's eyes narrowed just enough to signal she wasn't backing down. Of course it matters. I don't want to hurt anybody's heart. But there's a difference between hurt feelings and honest laughter. The world's gotten to where if you make somebody uncomfortable for 2 seconds, you're a villain. We've forgotten that sometimes truth does sting, but that don't make it mean. The audience applauded again, louder this time. Kelly tried to smile, but it was tight. She glanced toward her producers, clearly debating whether to steer away or double down. I just think, Kelly said carefully, that being kind doesn't mean you're fake. You can tell the truth and be considerate. Leanne tilted her head, giving a slow, deliberate smile. And I think being too careful can kill the conversation. You can wrap a hard truth in kindness, sure, but it's still gotta be the truth. Otherwise, it's just noise. The audience reacted, some clapped, others gasped. It was the kind of unscripted, electric moment that live TV producers both dreaded and craved. Kelly shifted in her seat, deciding to lighten the mood. Well, she said with a small laugh, I think we've just proven that comedy and conversation both need a little fire. Leanne grinned, leaning back. Oh, absolutely. I'm Southern, we like things with a little heat. If it ain't spicy, it's just mashed potatoes. The audience erupted with laughter, easing the tension once more. Even Kelly laughed, though she gave Leanne a side-eye smirk that said, "You sure know how to stir the pot." But the internet had already caught fire. Within hours of the episode airing, clips flooded social media. The exchange between Kelly and Leanne became one of the most discussed talk show moments of the week. Headlines blared. Leanne Morgan schools Kelly Clarkson on comedy, Kelly tries to calm Leanne, it backfires, and cancel culture debate erupts on Kelly Clarkson show. Some fans hailed Leanne as a hero for saying what everyone was thinking. Others accused her of being out of touch and dismissive. Even fellow comedians chimed in online, debating whether she had gone too far or simply spoken uncomfortable truth. The next morning, Leanne posted a video on Instagram, sipping coffee on her porch, her dog at her feet. "Y'all," she drawled, smiling into the camera, "I didn't go on Kelly's show to start a fight. I love Kelly, but I'll never apologize for speaking my truth. If telling the truth makes people mad, then bless their hearts, they probably needed to hear it." The clip went viral again, amassing millions of views in a day. Kelly, ever the professional, didn't address the drama directly, but on her show the following week she mentioned, with a sly smile, "We love having guests who keep it real. Sometimes a little too real." Leanne, meanwhile, kept touring, and her shows sold out faster than ever. Her fiery exchange with Kelly had turned her into a symbol of unfiltered honesty. Whether people loved her or loathed her, everyone agreed on one thing: Leanne Morgan was fearless, and she wasn't backing down for anyone.